Hey guys. Okay, so I know it's been a while. Furs and Fiends is kind of slow because we had a couple issues. We had the AT&T guy come take a look and fix up the internet, and it's actually worse now, so we got to get that dealt with. But yeah, I wanted to put out another video because I feel like a lot of what I wanted to do was like, if it was talking about something, it would be an interaction. So I'd have, Nori or Nova or James or whoever on. This one has become kind of prevalent lately in the several groups that I'm in. It's affected me a couple times, and it's affected a friend a couple times. It's affected strangers a few times. I know it happens to a lot of people out there. And I want to talk about just being good to each other in the furry community. Like, it's easy to use the word inclusion and friendly and being nice and all that kind of thing. But when it comes down to it, the furry community is no different than any other community. You look at like the pony community, the My Little Pony community, the bronies. You look at Steven Universe or any given anime fandom, blah, blah, blah. There's a really tight kinship based around our mutual interests and everything. But it's really easy for things to get really cliquey. And one of the worst ways that can happen is, like, I've seen it where there are people, because every community has bad eggs, There are bad people out there in the furry community, but it's in such a minority that, I mean, obviously we've seen it timeless times, countless times. Our community gets villainized because of the bad eggs, and it's such a different kind of fandom that it's really easy for the public and the people who don't know it to kind of just accuse everybody in our community of it. But the problem is that it also gives a lot of our own people, a bad taste in their mouth, because you have the ones who are actually trying to stir up trouble, and then you also have people where even if it's not intentional, some like not so pleasant results can come out of it. One thing I've seen in two maybe three groups is intentional exclusion based on your species of all things. I've seen people who, even if they came in after certain other people, I've seen this happen. It's actually happened with me. It's happened with where was it? I've seen it happen in two Telegram groups specifically. But it's just really, really weird to me that people can be so conceited as to say, I'm the only Sergal allowed. I'm the only red panda allowed. Like, this is something that we're all supposed to share together and have fun with. So, like, especially if you come in afterwards, just have the respect for other people to be able to say, oh, like for me, like, oh, you're a bat. That's really cool. You don't really see that many bats. Oh, you're a Eastern dragon. How many of them do you see around? It's really, really cool to be able to share that. So to have there be people out there who can be so arrogant and conceited as to say, ha ha ha, I'm the token, I'm the token bat. Ha ha, I'm the bat for my city. I'm the hedgehog for my town. Don't. Like, if there's someone who's interested in the same stuff, if there's someone who's trying to take a positive role and trying to help kind of just make it a better, more fun place, and they're enjoying the same species, they're enjoying the same artwork, they're enjoying the same music, whatever it is, just be good to each other, Like, it's ridiculous to me. Like, I don't understand how people can intentionally do it. And I think to a more prevalent degree, because that's obviously much lower on the list. Another problem is unintentional, I guess you could just call it basically neglect. It's really easy, in particular for the furry community, because of the fact that it's such a bizarre thing to most people, to people who don't really get it. What we like, what we do, our interests, our appreciation for the styles and everything. it's just so easy to kind of see that as weird that it's a lot harder for a lot of people to click with. For me in particular, there's not a lot of furries in my area. I'm in a big state. I'm in California. There's a lot up in LA. There's a lot down south in like the San Diego kind of area. I'm in Orange County, and my particular area of Orange County is surprisingly isolated. So I have to drive, all in all, when you consider what other people do drive, it's not that far, but usually you're looking at an hour 20. So it's not something where I can just, go down the street and hang out with other furs. So it's really easy to be able to make those meets for a lot of people, and if someone isn't able to get to those meets, then they get overlooked. And it's not because they're not welcome or anything, but it's because people don't know them in person, and that in-person connection, it's one of those things where it's just a lot easier for people to be like, oh yeah, do you remember we did that on Saturday? Do you remember we did that at the meet, blah, blah, blah. That's totally cool. And it sucks for the person who's left out, but it's not happening for a malicious reason, So it's one of those things where what I like to do, and it's why I always try to respond, it's why I always try to like and that kind of thing when people talk to me, is because I've been on the the sucky end of it, and I always try to make sure that if someone tries to talk to me or something like that, I will always do that, because besides the fact that I myself have my own social issues when it comes to being in person, online, that kind of thing, I can talk a lot more easily because I've been in theater, so performing has never been an issue, which is really ironic. But when it comes to socializing in person, that kind of thing, my social anxiety really, really, really gets the better of me. And it kind of sucks because it's so bad that it actually does manifest as it can result in physical illness. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think that if people were a little more attentive to the people on the outside who might not necessarily outside of the community, but newcomers, that kind of thing. Basically, I just think it's important to pay attention to the rest of our community and the ones who aren't in your inner circle of friends, because it's really, really easy to get left out, even if it's not on purpose, and the feeling really, really sucks. And like I said, I know that personally through quite a lot of extensive personal experience. So it's like, it can really make someone's day. Like, there's a lot, you always see the con footage of furries who let, like little kids try on the heads and stuff. And it's adorable, and I love it, and it's great that they get to see creativity and hopefully get attached to this kind of thing at an early age, because then they grow up with a much more open mind and a bigger outlet for their creativity. They can have their eyes open to a much bigger, more positive experience in the world. But that doesn't have to stop, at age 12. Don't let that stop at age 12. Don't let that stop at age 16. Take that with you into adulthood. And how that needs to happen is we need to be positive and we need to be welcoming to people. I don't care if you're the only sea lion, because you're not going to see that many aquatic sonas. If you're a walrus sona and you're in Peoria, and then there's another walrus who comes into the community there, be nice to them. You don't have to be the only walrus there. If you see somebody kind of sitting on the edge and they're trying to get a word in, but they really can't because everybody knows each other and they're not, usually out there at the meetups, or if they're trying to talk to you online, go ahead and give them the chance. Respond to them, hear them out, because it's very important that we maintain a positive drive, because it's not even how we appear to people. It's not even how we appear to each other. What we need to do in order to keep this a positive place is to make it a positive place. So it's very important. And I know this is probably annoying and it's probably boring, but it is a very important message, It really isn't that difficult to be nice to people. And for our community in particular, it's a place where a lot of people have gone to be able to feel like they fit in, because they see people that have like-minded appreciations for anthros and the style and, all the kind of cool stuff that comes with it. And there's that inherent affection and kinship that we tend to share with one another. And I think that it is so, so, so important for us to be able to keep that as the honest heart of it, because it is going to be a place that can spawn so much more great stuff and positivity, just in general for everyone. Because when you have eyes that are open in the fandom to being positive and being polite and nice and kind and welcoming, we're going to carry that into our normal lives, the non-furry sections of our lives. And then that will spread outward from there. You take that positivity from the fandom and that inclusion, that inherent, I want to be nice to you, I want to see your creativity, I want to support your art, I want to support you. Take that into the real world too. But since there are already so many problems that are completely unnecessary in our fandom, we need to start just by being good to each other. And I think that's really all I have to say. I didn't want it to kind of sound like a vent, but I think it's just so important for us to remember that we're all people, and you got to support each other. Otherwise, whether it's on purpose or not, you're not being... you just got to be the best person you can be for yourself and for others in order to make the world a positive place. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I wanted to make sure I got something out. This is kind of something that, like I mentioned, it has happened to me, and I've seen it a couple times recently in several groups that I'm in, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it. So on that note, I said that twice, I think. Very soon, I will have Nova on as a guest, not for Furs and Fiends, but we're going to be talking about fursuits and fursonas, and we've both been looking forward to that, so that's going to be really cool. And I have a couple more things for Furs and Fiends that, assuming the internet keeps... cooperates with me, then hopefully we'll be able to get that soon. I think that was a word. Anyway, it's getting hot in Calun's head, so I love you all. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I will see you guys as soon as I can. Bye.